What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Lesser Athletes. My name is Chadwell, and today, like always, an interesting video for you here on the channel. My predictions for Night of Champions. Now, this video is coming out a little later than usual because of my NBA content on this channel, but I'm still going to do it here for my predictions for Night of Champions. Here's the thing. Night of Champions seems like a great PLE that I will sadly not be able to watch because I have a trip going on during that day. But I'm excited to still watch and look at. I will not be able to. When I say watch, I mean I will not be able to record. I'll be able to still watch it though. There's going to be some interesting things that are going to really affect the future of this. And also, if I go a little fast in this video, it's because guess what? I've already recorded this video, but sadly, I cannot re-upload this video, and that's because I, for the first time ever in a month, decided to clear my desktop and to delete all my previous items. And guess what? Somehow, some way, that has screwed me out of now having my Night of Champions video that got corrupted. So we're going to talk about the predictions. We're going to go from what I think most likely to happen to least likely. Let's get started with Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. This is my most likely winner because I'm just thinking ahead of time. You already know they're going to give Cody Rhodes the win. Now, here's why. I think ultimately we're setting up for Cody Rhodes versus John Cena to happen, with Cody Rhodes maybe about to beat John Cena and then Seth Rollins cashing in and to ultimately steal the championship, maybe setting up a John Cena babyface run for the time being. I think we could also see a triple threat of Punk, Cody, and Cena for SummerSlam, just so we don't get Cody and Cena again. But I really do ultimately think that when you're looking at it from the perspective of who would win, makes a lot of sense. Randy Orton winning, goes after Cena. Doesn't make sense. I think second place again will happen. I think Saudi will also want to see Cody Rhodes be what's it called? Want to see OP Cody Rhodes, and they're going to make Cody Rhodes look the best as possible. So I expect Cody Rhodes to win, and I expect Cody Rhodes to become the king of the ring, so then he ultimately goes after John Cena again. And we have the whole thing with him, but maybe hints at a babyface turn for John Cena during it, and then ultimately I think a Seth Rollins cash-in will happen at SummerSlam, but we will see. Up next is Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross. Thank God Karrion Kross is finally on a PLE. Very happy for Karrion Kross. Sorry, Karrion Kross, though. You are losing this. Sami Zayn is the people of Saudi, and so I expect Sami Zayn to win. I don't think they're going to disrespect Karrion Kross here. And now thinking about it, something that I mentioned in the previous recording is that I kind of understand why they didn't do Sami Zayn versus Cody Rhodes. They want Cody Rhodes to look good because that's their future guy for them, and they have Sami Zayn looking good beating Karrion Kross. Now, I wonder how the Saudi crowd will react to Karrion Kross. But ultimately, to me, Sami Zayn will go against Karrion Kross. Sami Zayn will likely beat Karrion Kross because they're still going to give him that good thing. And then it's going to maybe trickle on to something else. But I really am happy that Karrion Kross is getting a PLE chance. And I think they're starting to understand the Karrion Kross's, momentum. I don't know if they're going to show it as much, so still scared they're not going to push him, truthfully. Up next is John Cena versus CM Punk. So you might say that, oh, well, you kind of are already kind of telling something. I think there's going to be shenanigans in this match. I think ultimately John Cena versus CM Punk is going to end with a big boom of John Cena winning ultimately and losing, and CM Punk losing, but maybe a setup for a future match, or possibly just, I know they say one last time, I think ultimately just a big overbooking that's going to make some fans, I think, kind of crazy on the certain things, and this is what I think is going to happen. So in the previous video that I recorded before this, I mentioned Roman Reigns. I don't know what's going to happen with Roman Reigns going to SummerSlam. Is Seth Rollins going to go against, Roman Reigns for SummerSlam and Roman Reigns ultimately winning? Is it going to be LA Knight versus Seth Rollins and LA Knight will win, but ultimately Seth Rollins will cash in? I don't know. But what I'm thinking truthfully is we're getting to the point where it seems like it's going to be Cena winning this match, but I think he's going to win because Seth Rollins is going to interfere, try to cash in. The ref's not there. Breaker, Bronson Reed doing whatever, destroying the two. Seth Rollins ready to cash in, about to cash in. Roman Reigns takes him out. Ultimately saying how Seth versus Roman Reigns. Now, maybe that sets up LA Knight versus Braun Breaker for SummerSlam, which I don't think we would want Braun Breaker to lose that entirely. I just am trying to think about where they would go. I think LA Knight and Seth Rollins would make a lot of sense, though. Maybe LA Knight goes against Seth Rollins at Saturday night's main event, with LA Knight winning because of Roman Reigns to set up Seth versus Roman Reigns for SummerSlam. Maybe that's the case. But ultimately, John Cena versus CM Punk is going to end with John Cena winning, in my opinion. Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez. I say this is probably where it starts getting a little unpredictable, where I actually am not knowing entirely what could happen. Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez is obviously a thrown-in match with Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross because Dominic Mysterio's quote-unquote injured. I don't know if that's 100% true. Maybe it's something with Saudi, but I think probably is true. I know a lot of people thought it's not true. I wonder what's going to happen in this match, because could they give Raquel Rodriguez the win over Rhea Ripley to really start pushing Raquel Rodriguez's solo act with Liv Morgan gone? I don't think that's going to happen. I think ultimately it's going to be Rhea Ripley winning. And the reason why is because I think this is going to set up maybe a Raquel and Roxanne Perez team up. And that's why I kind of wonder if Raquel's going to win. What if Roxanne helps Raquel win? And then Raquel and Roxanne are the teams for the tag titles. And then we ultimately get Rhea Ripley versus Nikki Bella versus Raquel and Roxanne, and that's when Rhea Ripley wins. But at the same time, I could see instead Rhea Ripley wins, and she's saying, I'm taking also the gold from you, and that's why we have to give Roxanne, and then they lose right there at Evolution. That's kind of where I'm at, but I don't know. It's kind of weird. I don't know which way they could go. I think more they're going to go for Rhea Ripley win more than anything. Up next is Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa. This is now, that previous match, I feel like Rhea Ripley will win. This is where it really gets like the next one, I'm 51-49. Here, I'm about 57, 53, is that, or 43, is that the math? That's the math. To me, Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa seemed like the SummerSlam match for them to give Solo Sikoa the gold. I'm shocked that they're doing this already and Nia champions, but I think it might be because of a big setup. So JC Mateo will ultimately interfere. I think that's the biggest thing we know. And I think we could see a Solo winning. I mean, no other gold is changing, I'm saying, in this match, or in this PLE. So could Solo Sikoa beat a Jacob Fatu right here, right now, and maybe a rematch happens at SummerSlam? I don't know. But this is what I ultimately think. I think we're going to get Jason Mateo interfering. Maybe Jacob Fatu able to stop him. Hikuleo maybe could debut and really help Solo Sikoa. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I don't think that's the point. I think Jason Mateo tries to interfere. Maybe Jimmy Uso helps Jacob Fatu retain the title. But that's where I'm going, is I think it's a retaining. And now here's why. I think we're going to retain. I think Solo's going to realize that Jacob Fatu is not someone to mess with. I think he's going to realize, we need to get more people. That's where Hikuleo kind of comes in. And then I think up to SummerSlam is going to be a rematch with Jacob Fatu, Solo Sikoa, and maybe Jimmy Uso in the mix because he helped Jacob Fatu, and maybe Solo Sikoa is mad that he helped, and then ultimately Jimmy Uso gets into the match, and maybe that's when Hikuleo debuts and JC Mateo in the triple threat, where ultimately Jimmy Uso gets pinned by Solo Sikoa, and Jacob Fatu still doesn't get pinned. I always assume that maybe Jacob Fatu won't get pinned for a very, very long time until it's someone insane, or for a long, long time they keep up this streak. So I don't think a Solo Sikoa pin, which I don't think Jacob Fatu getting pinned by Solo Sikoa is bad. I don't think pins are that much important when you kind of book in certain ways, but ultimately I'm going Jacob Fatu, but I could see Solo Sikoa, and I just think it's a lead up to SummerSlam. Now, this is the one I'm 51-49 on, because both of them have really good routes to go there. Jade Cargill was supposedly going to get a big push entering Evolution. They talked about a Charlotte Flair and Jade Cargill match at Evolution. They talked about Jade Cargill, chances are getting a really big potential match going into SummerSlam as well. I think it makes more sense to give her the Queen of the Ring. She's younger. It'll help her. It gives her a title shot right away. I think it's good to put it on her. And then it kind of leads to maybe her versus Tiffany Stratton to get a potential Naomi cash in when Jade Cargill beats Tiffany Stratton at maybe SummerSlam and Naomi wins the title, which is very reminiscent of what could happen with John Cena and Cody Rhodes. So we'll see on that one. And then I look at maybe some other routes we could go where Jade Cargill loses. Maybe she gets a title shot at Tiffany Stratton at Evolution instead, and Naomi cashes in there. So then ultimately we get Jade Cargill versus Naomi at SummerSlam. I don't know. That's another one I'm a little questionable. Maybe Tiffany Stratton defends the title at Evolution and Naomi cashes in on her there. Maybe she cashes in on literally the Saudi show that's happening technically tonight when I'm uploading this video. Oh, what happened tonight when I'm uploading this video? I think so. 99% sure it is. So yeah, we'll see about this. There's a lot of question marks that could happen, but ultimately, Jade Cargill looks like she should win. Now, Asuka, on the other hand, re-debuting, looking like a really great star that they're trying to push a lot into. I really like Asuka. I think it makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of new stuff you can do with Asuka as well, with how the roster is made right now. Hinted at that Io Sky Championship, and Io and Asuka is a match that I think we've all wanted to see for a long time. Giving her the Queen of the Ring because she's already been established too could really help as well for the King of the Ring prestige. I really believe Asuka makes sense to go there. I think she goes against Io Sky, could win against Io Sky. Don't know 100%, and I think ultimately Io Sky losing to Asuka, don't know if that would really happen. But it makes sense. Ultimately, I'm going to go with who I thought would win at the very beginning, which is Jade Cargill. It's just easy, makes a lot of sense. Naomi could cash in before SummerSlam, so we get Jade and Naomi with that. But also, I really see just Jade winning and then Naomi cashing in on Jade and just staying up that feud, maybe adding Bianca in the future. That's where I'm at. I think it makes sense. And sorry, Asuka, don't see it happening. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.